November 4th, 2016. That election was a pretty big change, to say the least. For those on the right, it was time to jump off the couch and celebrate. But for those, like me, who feel a bit more comfortable on the left, well, it was time to jump off the couch and run to the liquor store. After a cold, comforting beer, or two, okay, it was more like 20, I had some time to think. I felt nervous. I felt scared about the change. I felt angry. And above all, I felt helpless. I vowed from that day that I would get more involved. And through that effort, I realized I wasn't helpless. I'm not helpless. And you're not helpless. Though it takes work, one person can truly stand up and make a difference. I woke up the next day on November 5th to read through the final election results. Well, at least my home state Delaware went blue. But then I got to the local elections. And not only was my district senator a Republican, he ran unopposed. Oh, you can't win if you don't show up. If things were going to change for my neighbors and I, we needed a hero, and we found one. Laura Sturgeon, a bright, brave middle school teacher with 25 years experience. When you volunteer for a local political campaign, here are your marching orders. Every day, wake up, get your flyers, ring doorbells. Let's give it a try. Ding dong, go away, slam. Okay. Ding dong, no soliciting, slam. Ding dong, woof, woof, woof. Woof. Must have been a Republican dog. Well, let me tell you guys, for every slam door, well, we would have a warm conversation. And people, they love Laura. Over the course of a year, we knocked on hundreds of doors. And when the midterms came along, she won by 712 votes. Laura, she immediately got to work in Delaware. And with her Senate vote, Delaware has increased the minimum wage, passed new gun control, and added a state amendment guaranteeing equal rights for women. Laura and her team of volunteers, we stood up and made a difference. And so can you. In the next election, consider working with another politician. Write some letters, knock on some doors, or make some phone calls. Because as you can see from Laura, every vote counts. But that was Delaware. Here in Silicon Valley, maybe there aren't any swing elections. I know, it's a pretty blue area. But let me tell you, I used to live in Brooklyn, and there the politics were as blue as the sea. And yet, nothing was being done for my signature issue, global warming. The local green groups, they were furious because the state pension fund was heavily invested in dirty fuels like oil, gas, and coal. Once again, we needed a hero. Dun da da dum! The city comptroller. Now he's not your typical comic book figure, but he's a powerful guy nevertheless. You see, with the stroke of a pen, Comptroller Scott Stringer can change a pension. But he wouldn't do anything. Why? Because when you're a politician, it's much easier to do nothing, because then you won't get blamed for anything. But Stringer, over here, he's got one weakness. He wants to be mayor. And that won't happen without the green vote. So we turned up the heat. Every week, we made phone calls to his office, handed out flyers, and protested at his events. Oh, you should have seen this guy, this politician's face that would go purple. There were awkward moments, but he eventually listened. In January 2018, New York moved their entire pension fund out of fossil fuels. That's $200 billion no longer going towards dirty fuels. In New York, we stood up and we pushed Stringer to make a difference. Your local reps have the power to do good, but you've got to keep your eye on them. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Dave, come on, I can't spend every day knocking on doors, and I only vote by ballot once every 2 years. But my friends, every day you vote with this ballot. You see, political action is meaningless if it's not backed up by your daily spending. When I moved to California, riding high after the New York pension move, I figured, I better check on my own investments. The #1 stock? ExxonMobil. Are you kidding me? I'm happy my friends from New York didn't see that. But with the click of a button, I moved all my money into a green fund, one that doesn't invest in the fossil fuels. It was a small move, but a powerful one. Because you see, companies care about your daily dollar. And if you make a change, you better believe they'll listen. 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a green fund. People just didn't care. Whatever, green fund. But then demand shifted, and Wall Street had to change. Today, according to the Harvard Business Review, there are now over 800 green funds, and 1 out of every $4 invested goes towards socially conscious investing. Every day, think about it. Does your spending match your politics? If you care about the environment, you could take public transportation and buy a green vehicle. If you care about labor, you could buy union. If you care about animals, you could eat less meat. Every day, with every decision, you have the power to stand up and make a difference. Look, times are tough right now. And if watching the local news has you reaching for that cold beer, I don't blame you guys. But never forget this. You are not helpless. If we work together, vote by vote, phone call by phone call, and purchase by purchase, we can all stand up and make a difference. For as the author Margaret Mead once said, you can never underestimate the power of a small group to change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.